Greetings, family. Your CEO, what's up? This is your brother Chief-Kalinago with a video, a build. As you know, man, I'm always, diving deeper into information, bringing clarity to a lot of people, especially in these beautiful but trying times. All right. So with that being said, I want to give thanks to my ancestors. Want to give thanks to the Great Spirit just for always using me as a vessel to bring information to the people, more clarity. And once again, information that I present is just for educational purposes. And you do as you may with the information. All right. By no means this is an attack or I'm addressing anyone in particular. I just see a lot of information is being disseminated, over the internet. And I know that people are very vulnerable at this time. And I think there needs to be a perspective of more clarity, all right, more transparency. And I see that lacking a lot. A lot of people are giving information, but they're not giving all the information. And a lot of times what you hear, okay, what you hear may sound good, but it's not everything that you hear is always good, all right? Because I realize that everybody ain't telling the whole truth. You feel me? For whatever reason, it is what it is. But I'm just here to drop information, and I'm going to drop some critical information for you today. Once again, man, by all means, I'm not mad that anybody else is supporting whoever. Support everybody who's dropping information, but those that are dropping information that people, the real. All right, support, man. Just show some love, because doing what we do, especially doing what I do, it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of meditation, and a lot of things come to me. And I'm just going to drop some information to you today that the ancestors opened up my eyes to see something else that I'm going to drop to you guys, for you guys today. So let's get into this build. All right, let me make sure that if you could hear me, do me a favor, go ahead and share the video. All right, hit the share, get that information out. And let me just make sure that I'm good on Facebook right now. I know I'm good on YouTube, but let me make sure that I'm good on Facebook. And go ahead and share the information, man. Go ahead and share the information. All right, give me a second here. Share the link, family. Share the link. All right, share the link. Let's get this popping. All right, let's get this popping. All right. Now, once again, don't get me wrong, right? A lot of people are putting great information out there, and that's a beautiful thing. And I commend people for putting that information out there. But my thing is, if you're gonna put the information, give people the full perspective or the full spectrum of what they're dealing with. Don't give half information. You feel what I'm saying? The half information is not gonna work. And people are really vulnerable right now. And people don't know what to do, where to turn. So for me, I'm bringing clarity, all right? I'm bringing things so that it could open up your eyes and make you see things from a different perspective. You feel me? Because a lot of people have eyes, but they can't see. And a lot of people have ears, but they can't hear. And to me, that's the problem, all right? So let's give some more people some time to get into the live feed. In the meantime, let me just talk to you guys about my journey. I appreciate that, Debbie. Let me just share with you guys, my journey for the past, 6 days, almost 7, well, about 6.5 days. I've made a decision to just eat, raw foods. You know what I mean? And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's not hard because I wasn't eating bad anyway. I was never a bad eater because I grew up in the islands. You know what I'm saying? Like eating food from the earth. The only thing is we cook a lot of those foods, and that's cool. But I just made a conscious decision or an aware decision to, just try that for 90 days. Nothing but raw food. So, I have, smoothies but all that stuff is raw, non-GMO. You know what I mean? A lot of greens, and it feels good. I don't get hungry as much as I used to. And it's only been about 6 days, honestly. Like if I break my fast, with a beautiful, what they call breakfast, I could go pretty much all day, or or towards the evening time without even feeling hungry. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you, to me, from my own understanding, what the reasons are for that, right? Because if you know the relationship, greetings to all, Halito, all right, Osio, right? If you know the relationship between chlorophyll in plants and our DNA, it's pretty much what our DNA is to us is chlorophyll to plants. You see what I'm saying? And what's DNA to us is not is I keep forgive me here for a second. What the point I'm making is this, right? Plants is literally us in a different form. All right. And I know a lot of you have done enough research, so I'm not gonna get into all that, and because that's not what I'm here to talk about. But I'm just letting you know why I made that transition. It's just something that I felt in my spirit, you know what I mean, that I had to do. Okay, just go eat raw foods. All right. And it was time for me to do that. I don't know why the ancestors came to me and put that in my spirit, but I just said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna stop and just get into raw foods. All right. So far, I've only done it for like about 6.5 days, and I was like 243 pounds. Right now, I'm not fat, but I realized that around my midsection, I was getting a little weight, and I'm like, nah, I gotta do something. I gotta do better than that, right? Literally, in about 6.5 days, I have literally dropped 10 pounds, and that 10 pounds is in my midsection. You know what I mean? So it's a beautiful thing. I feel absolutely wonderful, but even within the 6 days, my visions, and when I'm talking about my vision, yes, you have insight and you have outsight and you also have vision, but my visions are becoming more clearer. All right. And some things are happening within me that I can't quite, articulate just yet, but I feel a little bit different. All right. But with that being said, I think we have enough people on the bill right now. So let me get into the information. All right. So if you see the title of the video, it says to be or not to be. That is the question. Well, Chief, what are you talking about? Well, brothers and sisters, I'm going to break a few things down. I'm going to talk about the state of mind of our people. And when I say our people, I'm talking about indigenous people of this land. You see, everybody is kind of like in an uproar trying to decide what's next and where to go. Also, people are very vulnerable. So when they hear information, they might think, whoa, well, it sounds good, or it's coming from that person. That person got to be right. But remember, not everything is the truth. It's the same thing like with me. I tell people, do your own research, right? Because there's levels to this, many levels. What we have to comprehend is this, right? We are so tied in, and the rabbit hole is so deep that the more you dig, the more you're going to uncover things. And ultimately, what you have to realize is, man, we had it all along. We had it all along. But because of all these different distractions, all right, and so many people came here into the Americas to enslave, to steal, to kill, to destroy, that so many different cultures got mixed in with our cultures. We calling ourselves everything except for the indigenous people that we are of the land. And your grandmother, our grandmother, they had it right. Okay? We are the American Indians, regardless of what they tell you. Well, oh, well, this is not India. Oh, well, somebody call us Indians. It doesn't matter. The point is, the people that they call American Indians, when they came here, they are us. You feel me? And that term, American Indians, is written in treaties and constitutions and all these different, covenants. Okay? So don't drift too far away from who you truly are. It's in our roots. It's in our DNA. You dig? So I'm gonna break a few things down to you guys today. So let's get into this. Okay? Now, as you know, there is a reset in the system. We have spoken about that in videos, so I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. However, I'm gonna talk about the statehood, okay, of we, the indigenous people. Okay, everybody's wondering, well, what does it mean? Okay, because as you could see, the system is falling apart. Now, which system is falling apart? That's the question. Which system? And the question is, Are we part of that system? Were we meant to be a part of that system? And should we engage in being part of that system? And those are the questions I'm going to answer for you today, again, with clarity, because I see a lot of videos and a lot of people talking, but nobody's putting it in its true perspective. Now, I'm not saying that anybody have hidden agendas, but I'm going to open up your eyes to a few more things. And that's what I'm going to do, because that's what was given to me to give unto you. All right. So first off, think about it this way, right? Once you know who you truly are, meaning that if you are truly an indigenous man or woman, then you have to go back. You are able to go back before any form of colonization, okay? Before any form of governmental structure that was set up by foreigners or colonizers or pilgrims or whatever, or immigrants, whatever you want to call them, okay? If you know that you are indigenous and you have been here before any of those institutions, then guess what? None of these institutions, all right, have any right to tell you or force you to assimilate. That's number one, okay? Because every institution, whether it be a city, state, government, they are all societies. And you'll see where I'm going with this, right? They are all societies, and everyone have a choice to be part of that society if they so choose to. It's an option. It's voluntary. Okay? It is voluntary. Now, this is where the voluntary part of that equation comes in. If you want to be part of that society, you are doing that because you want their benefits, right? Now, I'm going to prove my point to you, because a lot of people are not looking at the Amish people. How come we never hear about the Amish? But yet still they exist. They have their own land. Why nobody talk about them? Because they're doing something that they saw or they learned from us. They're not begging any society for anything. They are truly self-sustained and they are truly autonomous. But you see a lot of our people going around, oh, I'm indigenous, but do you really know what indigenous it means to be indigenous? Do you really know how to be indigenous? And those are the questions you have to ask yourself. People are asking, well, Chief, well, should I do the census? I don't know. You tell me, should you do it? My question to you is this, right? If the first census was in 1790, what type of census did our ancestors do? Now, if our ancestors didn't do any type of census, then why do you think you're obligated to do it? All that stuff is foreign to indigenous people. So once again, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I am not here to tell you what to do. Based on the information that I'm given, you make a conscious decision as to what I should do for me and with my family. So now, let us talk about the census first. If the first census was taken in 1790, then we were here way before 1492. Then what type of census did our people take? Tell me. And I'm asking you these questions. You tell me, what type of census did great-great-great-grandmama, did Big Mama have to take to know where her children was at, what they were doing? You see, we lost our sense of community. We lost our sense of the village. So we have people dictating everything that we are supposed to do as indigenous people. Well, be a part of this society, be a citizen of this, be a citizen of that. But to be a citizen of a particular society, that means you have to be governed by that society's rules. Not laws, but rules. Because every society have their own ordinances. They have their own statutes, they have their own codes. But as indigenous people, we have a right to have our own. And that's established in international law. You feel me? Now, family, once again, Pay attention to what I'm saying. I keep telling y'all nothing is free. Even attention you got to pay for. Pay attention to what I'm saying. You feel me? I'm going to ask you the question again. Okay, I'm going to ask you the question again. If the first census was taken in 1790, all right, let us go look at the etymology of census, because I really want y'all to get this, because I'm not here to give any advice or tell you what to do. However, I'm going to expose you to the information, and you decide what you want to do for you and your family. You know your situation. I don't know. All right, but we're going to get into some things. We're going to get into some things today, because I'm just tired of people giving half information and putting people in a bind. They're still confused. And I'm here to clear up, the confusion. All right? Census. Etymology of census. Let us click on that real quick. And I'm going to share my screen. Okay? Because for some reason, man, like I said, and you know what? Let me, once again, man, like I told you guys, hey, support, man. Show your love, man. Show your love, because I'm going to just keep it real. Ain't nobody doing it like me out here. I'm just keeping it 100. Period. I know y'all might think it's ego. It's not. I'm just letting you know. My eyes are open and I'm seeing everybody else. And ain't nobody doing it like the way I'm doing it. All right? And that's just facts. If nobody's going to give me the credit, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to give it to myself. Let's dig into this a little bit. All right? Watch. Let me show y'all something. Okay? Let me show y'all something. Give me a second. Let me share my screen, because I see people playing a lot of game. And I'm not going to allow these games on my watch. Watch. Okay? Let us see. Census. I'm going to give the screen some time to, to catch up, because there's a slight delay. All right? Let me just. So we're going to look at the etymology of census. For those of you who don't know what etymology is the root of a word, all right? The origin, all right, of that word within a certain era, okay? So we have census, all right? 1610s, in reference to registration and taxation in what? Roman history. That's where the census came from, all right? Whenever you start filling out censuses, okay, then you have to be taxed, period. All right? Now I'm just giving you the information. You do what you want with it. It's that simple. And all that is public information. But I'm just bringing it to the people. Let us read that again. Okay? In reference to registration and taxation, it didn't say or, it said and. Do you know what and means? It means that registration, not or, because if it was or, then it would be optional, meaning that the taxation would be optional. But it says and taxation in Roman history, from Latin census, the enrollment of names and property assessments of what? All Roman citizens. Okay? Originally past participle of sincere, to assess, to censor. The modern use of census as official enumeration of the inhabitants of a country or state with details begins in what? The US 1790. Oh, well, I guess Chief know what he's talking about, huh? But guess what? The American Indians were not allowed to do the first census. Well, Chief-Kalinago, why? Because we, the American Indians, we had our own governments. And the deal was we were not to be part of your system. The deal has always been to deal with us from a government to government basis. That's why we were not citizens. That's why today you could never be a citizen. And I'm going to break that down to you again. Not because you are a descendant of Africans. No, we are talking about Dred Scott. But because you are an American Indians. Because we are American Indians, we could never, by default, be citizens. But once again, I want this to sink in. All right? I want this to sink in and let it make sense to you. Let us look at the census. Again, I'm not mad. I'm not shouting. This is just the passion and the love. That's all it is. All right, let's read again. 1610s, in reference to registration and taxation in Roman history. I'm going to ask you a question. How are we in Rome? Are we in Rome? Do you know who the Romans are? Ah, I'm about to open up some things here for y'all today. All right, let us read again. From Latin, census, the enrollment of names and property assessment of all Roman citizens. Okay, originally past participle of sincere, to assess. See, censor. The modern use of census as an official enumeration of the inhabitants of a country or state, which details begins in what? The US in 1790 and the Revolutionary France 1791. Property for what? For taxation was the primary purpose in Rome. So what make you think today it's changed? The main reason for doing a census is for taxation. A registration is just to keep a record. That's all it is. However, the purpose of keeping the record is for taxation purposes. Hence, Latin census also was used for one's wealth, one's worth, one's wealthiness. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Let us get back. Okay? So we are not in Rome. And in 1790, indigenous people, aka American Indians, were not allowed to do the census. You know why? Because that wasn't part of the deal. Even in those days, American Indians could not even join any of the armed forces because we were not allowed to fight in their wars. Why? Because that wasn't part of the deal. So a lot of our ancestors had to give up their identity as American Indians, and some of them became white. Oh, y'all didn't know, huh? Well, guess what? White ain't got nothing to do with the color of your skin, because guess what? This is actually white. I have never seen anyone looking like this. So white was a status. It was a status. So a lot of them had to give up being American Indians to fight in wars and to assimilate into a culture that they wanted to be a part of. So they became white, especially those who had a lot of wealth. Okay? Especially those who had a lot of wealth. And the ones who didn't, all right, at that time, all right, a lot of them was black and colored and all that stuff until it just all changed to colored. But a lot of our ancestors were identified as white because they had a lot of what? They had a lot of property. So that clears up, hopefully, this clears up the question about census. Well, Chief, should I? Well, should you? And they say if you don't, it's a law. Well, a law according to whom? Because that didn't apply to my ancestors. So if it didn't apply to my ancestors, how are you going to force that on me when my ancestors weren't even allowed to be on the first census? You feel me? So that's number one, dealing with the census aspect of things. Once again, if you so choose, that's on you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to open up your mind. You dig? Now, let's talk about citizenship. Okay? Our people, again, American Aboriginals, American Indians, indigenous people, were not meant to be citizens. Why? Because we had our own governments, family. There were three powers, so to speak, okay, that was going back and forth among other little minions. Okay? You had the United States, you had the Republic, and you had the indigenous people that all came together and created the Iroquois Confederacy. Okay? That was supposed to be the three powers, all right, that was supposed to be here. But for whatever reason, we know why, the United States was the one that emerged to be the power. Why? Because they had a lot of help. From whom, Chief? From people who look just like us. You see, y'all are getting confused. Or maybe it's because you are in denial. But if you are, it's okay. It doesn't change the fact that I'm telling the truth. Okay? If you get in your feelings, it still doesn't change the fact that I'm telling the truth. So it's facts over feelings, and documentation beats conversation. And I'm going to show you the documentation. You feel me? So we know that if you are of African descent, then you will never be a citizen of the United States. As per Dred Scott. That court ruling, remember, the Supreme Court laws or ruling is the supreme law of the land, including the Constitution. You did. So if based on that Supreme Court ruling, anyone of African descent could never be a citizen of the United States, and that has never been repealed, how is that a lot of you African Americans, black people, going around thinking you're citizens? Why do you think you get shot in the street? Why do you think you're treated as 3/5 of a human? That is because you are not citizens of this society that was created. It's a society, and everyone have a choice. Okay? Free will. Nobody could take away your free will. You see, your free will was taken away from you through fear. Through fear. How is that every other ethnic group, right, gets to have their own communities? You have Chinatown, you have Italian communities, you have Japanese communities, you have Korean communities, you even have Arab communities. Well, but you know what, Chief, how is that they have Arab communities? How is that Arab own all the gas stations and they always blowing shit up? That is because it's all propaganda, man. It's all propaganda. So how is that when it comes to we, the American Aborigines, and anytime we want to come together to do something, all of a sudden we racist? All of a sudden, oh, nah, somebody else got to be a part of it. Come on, man. Y'all got to read between the lines, fam. You got to. You got to read between the lines. So if descendants of so-called Africans could never be citizens of the United States, regardless of what, whether you were born and naturalized, you still cannot be, period. It's all a facade. Well, Chief, well, what happened to the American Indians? Okay, well, what happened to the American Indians, Chief? Well, let's get into that. I'm going to prove to you that we, the American Indians, are not citizens of the United States. And I have the documents to prove it. All right, so let us go. Let me share my screen again. Let me share my screen again. Okay, here we go. I know I have it somewhere. All right. This is the Indian Citizen Act of 1924. All right. I'm going to take that link and I'm going to put it in the description for you guys. And so you can have the information yourself. All right. Study to show yourself, to show yourself improved. All right. Let us go look here for a second. Let me give the screen some time to catch up here, because I know I'm moving kind of fast. All right, guys, do me a favor. It's a little over 100 people on one platform, and so we getting there. Do me a favor. Share the link. Share the link. Share the link. Invite more people. Let's get that information out there, because our people are vulnerable. All right, and when you're vulnerable, you do things in haste. And what you have to realize is haste make waste. You don't have to rush. Take your time. Okay? Time, we have nothing but time. You feel me? Mother Nature is not going anywhere. We aren't going anywhere. They can't get rid of us. We've always been here. Okay? All right. So let's talk about the Indian Citizen Act of 1924. All right? Here we are. Okay, Indian Citizen Act of 1924. Until Indian Citizenship Act of 1924, Indians occupied unusual status under federal law. It says unusual status under federal law. Okay, some had acquired citizenship by marrying white men. Now, why didn't it say marrying white women? Family, you see, you got to read between the lines. Obviously, because land and property and wealth was passed through the woman. Okay? So what they told our people, hey, you know what? You want to be part of our society, we got to marry your women. Not denounced to our ancestors, not knowing that that was a two-edged sword. You were becoming part of another society, but at the same time, you were taking them into our societies. Now they had rights, hereditary rights to everything that we owned. Family, man, listen, I'm just here to give you the information. Okay? And if I'm lying, I'm flying. But the point is, I'm giving you the facts. I'm showing you the documentation because it big conversation. All right? Let's read that again because reading is fun for the mental. Until the Indian Citizen Act of 1924, Indians occupied an unusual status under federal law. That is because we had our own governments. Unusual. Unusual, huh? All it means is we had our own systems and they had to deal with us as a government, as a separate people. Okay? Now, some acquired citizenship by what? Marrying white men. Why not white women? How is that you were able to marry a white man and get citizenship of their societies, but how is that marrying a white woman was a crime? You feel me? That is because marrying a white woman, they have no perks in it for them. However, marrying an indigenous, a dark skin, a copper tone, a brown skin, heavy melanated sister, okay, not just allowed them to come into the family, all right? Or people thinking they were getting citizenship, not knowing that these people were stepping into the family heritage, stepping into the family wealth. And now they became an heir to everything that we had. Okay? That was the main purpose of the marriage. It wasn't to make them citizens. Because we didn't have to beg for citizenship. A lot of people, yes, wanted to assimilate, but the main purpose why it just seemed such like it's such a benefit. And they made it so, such, okay, you know what, man, it's a good thing to be a citizen. You know, you could drink in the fountains where the white people drink water. Our people fell for it. We fell for it, man. But anyway, let's read. Others received citizenship through military services by receipt of allotments or through special treaties or special statuses. Family, read with understanding. It says what? Like I just told you, others received citizenship through what? Military services. They had an unusual status. So what? They had to give up being Indians to be citizens, and they have to give up Indians to be in the military service. They have to become white. All right? But by receipts of allotments. Receipts of allotments. Let's go look at that definition. All right? Read with understanding, family. Read with understanding. Let us go look at the definition of allotments. I know what it means, but I want you to see what it means. Okay? Google. Let's get into this. Definition. Allotment. All right? What's an allotment? The amount of something allocated to a particular person. Let's read that again. All right? The amount of something allocated to a particular person. A piece of land deeded by the government to a North American Indian as part of the division of tribally held land. A plot of land rented by an individual for growing vegetables or flowers. Now let's go back to the Indian Citizen Act. It says by receipt of allotment. All right. So our ancestors, if they wanted to be in the military services or become part of their society, they have to show the receipt that they owned the land. Now, let me ask you a question. How could you be a slave that came from Africa on a slave ship, but you own the land? I'll wait. Let somebody explain that to me, please, because I'm waiting for an explanation. All right? Can't be explained. So let's proceed. Or special treaties or special statutes. By many were still not, okay, but many were still not citizens, and they were barred from the ordinary processes of naturalization open to what? Foreigners. So all these people was coming in, all right? All these different ethnic groups was coming from all over the world, coming getting free citizenship. It's the same thing happening today. Up to this present day, we're not citizens, but everybody has come. Oh, yes, here's a loan. Here's a grant. Become a citizen. Y'all got to get this, man. Congress took what some saw as a final step on June 2nd, 1924, and granted citizenship to all, not some, but all Native Americans born in the United States. Okay? The granting of citizenship was not a response to some universal petition by American Indian groups. Rather, it was a move by the federal government to absorb Indians into mainstream of the American life. Okay? That was just a move to force us to assimilate into their societies. In other words, okay, we didn't have to live by their ordinances and their statutes and their codes. But it was a move to make sure that we stepped into their jurisdiction on our own land, because another jurisdiction was created on our own land. All of the Americas is still Indian country, but they created jurisdictions and territories, all right? And to become part of that society, you had to give up being American Indian. So that was the main purpose of giving citizenship. It's not because they had our best interests at heart, no. You see, we have too much power. That was the problem. Any decisions that have to be made, they have to come counsel with us. So in order for us to lose that type of right or authority, they made everyone citizens to absorb, so we could be absorbed, get lost, so to speak, into their systems and their societies. All right? Now, no doubt, Indian participation in the World War accelerated the granting of citizenship to all Indians, but seems more likely to have been the logical extension and culmination of the assimilation policy. Now, they have never won any wars without the American Indians. Okay? After all, Native Americans had demonstrated their ability to assimilate into the general military society. There were no segregated Indian units as there were for African Americans. Some members of the white society declared that the Indians had successfully passed the assimilation test during the wartime, and thus they deserved the rewards of citizenship. Now, don't get confused as to the words or the term Native American and African American. Those are two different people. And when we are speaking of Native Americans here, we ain't talking about the $5 Indians. No, they're talking about us, the original ones. Okay? Now, let's proceed. Dr. Joseph K. Dixon, an active prominent of assimilating the vanishing race into white society, wrote, "The Indian, though a man without a country," okay? Peep the game. The Indian, though a man without a country. What does that mean, Chief? I thought we were here. Yes, we were here on the land. But we didn't have a country because we didn't have this type of system that was set up with a prime minister, a president. We didn't have that. So it wasn't considered a country. We were just autonomous to the land. Everything is in the wordplay, family. Okay? It's all in the wordplay. Semantics of the words. So once again, let's read. The Indian, though a man without a country, the Indian who has suffered 1,000 wrongs, considered the white man's burden, and from mountains, plains, and divides, the Indian threw himself into the struggle to help throttle the unthinkable tyranny of the Hun. The Indian helped free Belgium, helped to free all the small nations, not some, but all. How come we don't get the respect? Help to give victory to the stars and the stripes. The Indian went to France to help avenge the ravages of autocracy. Now, shall we not redeem ourselves by redeeming all the tribes? That's a question. So the Indian Citizen Act of 1924 was proclaimed. Now, let us get into the act itself. And I'm going to prove to you, even if they did that, I'm going to prove to you, even up to this day, we are not citizens. I'm going to prove it to you. Let's read. Read with understanding. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled, that all non-citizen Indians born within the territorial limits of the United States be, and they are hereby declared to be citizens of the United States. Good. Boom. Now, if that was all the act was about, then yes, today, every American Indian would have been a citizen of the United States. But guess what? It didn't just stop there. It says what? Provided. Brothers and sisters, provided is a provision. You see, it just didn't end by saying, let's make them, because they won all our battles. They fought all our wars. They saved us. They fed us. They bathed us. No. So let's make them citizens and treat them well. It didn't end there. They say, you know what? Even if they did all that for us, we're going to make them citizens, provided that. Provided the provision. Okay? Provided that the granting of such citizenship shall not what? In any manner, not just one particular manner, not just two particular manner, not just three, but any manner, or otherwise affect the right of any Indian to tribal or other property. Brothers and sisters, read with understanding. Let's read that again, because I want y'all to get this. They made all of our ancestors, and hence if our ancestors were citizens, by default we are. But you see, our ancestors were not citizens, and I'm proving it to you right now. So by default we are not. Let's read again. The first portion of the enactment, it made everyone citizens. All right, cool, great, thank you, United States. But guess what? The United States turned around and said, you know what? I'm going to give you this with my left hand. But while you're not looking, because you may not be able to read with understanding, I'm going to extend my right hand and take it right back. So they took back the citizenship. How did they do that? Well, here we go. Provided, provision, provided that the granting of such citizenship shall not in any manner impair. Well, what you mean, Chief? What does impair means? Well, let's go look at the definition of impair, shall we? Look, impair, definition. See, a lot of these games are being played out here. I don't play the games. I show the documents and I show the facts and I speak the truth. I want y'all to see what's going on. And I'm going to point something else out for you guys, all right? Let's look at the definition of impair, okay? Impair, weaken or damage something, especially a human faculty or function. And they have what's called, they say similar, but you know, those are actually synonyms, all right? Damage, harm, diminish, reduce, weaken, lessen, decrease. So now that we know what impair means, let's go read that final part or that last paragraph of the enactment. The Indian Citizen Act of 1924. To damage, weaken, to harm, all right, to reduce, to decrease. Let's read. So what does it say now? Provided that the granting of such citizenship shall not in any manner impair. In other words, take away, weaken, decrease, or otherwise affect the right of any Indian to tribal or other property. Now, I'm going to come back here for a second. Stop sharing. And I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question. And if it's basic questions. Do we have our land? And I'm waiting for you guys to answer me, please. Okay? I'm proving to you that you're not citizens. Do we have our land? I'm going to wait for you guys to respond. I'm still waiting for you guys to respond. All right, this is interactive. Do we have our land? Good, thank you. All right, next question. Do we have our identity? Next question. Do we have our identity? Well, Raheem, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know which land we got. The United States got it all. So I'm asking again, do we have our land? Do we have our identity? Do we speak our original languages? All right then. So that means by default, we are not United States citizens because what? By granting us, all right, or by declaring us citizens with that provision saying that if it impaired, damaged, or decreased, or took away, that means by default, you are not citizens of the United States. So therefore, we, the American Indians, are still stateless, just like the African Americans. So you see the game that was played. Okay? Now, that is just my interpretation, okay, of reading with understanding is seeing. You see, you have to read to comprehend. All right? So, by default, we are not citizens of the United States. Okay, well, people are born in what they call states. You are a resident of that state. Okay? But within being a resident of that state, those other societies that came and established those states, all right, they are foreigners. They are foreigners. And they have to create ordinances, codes, and statutes, which are not laws. They are not laws for their own society. So therefore, for you to fit into their society, they're saying, well, you know what? You have to be a part of us. You have to be a citizen of such and such. So that should answer a lot of your questions. All right? Now, speaking on the term or what we call nationality, family, you see, everybody's talking about that. And yes, we hear the Moors talking about nationality, but there is more to it than that. And a lot of people are missing that. You see, a lot of people are missing that. And a lot of you are going to get caught up. Because again, many people just go based on what they hear. All right, all these so-called scholars come and tell you things and you just think it's the truth. But I'm about to open up your eyes some more. Okay, yes, I'm going to open up your eyes some more. All right, because nobody's going to tell you the truth that Moors, and again, I'm not here to debate and beat on Moors. No, I'm just speaking the facts. All right, Moors are not originally from the Americas. All right, and that's just facts. Okay, you have to realize that and I keep asking these people the question. Okay, before, if you say we were all this and that, before we were all this and that, what were we? We were a clan people. Okay, we were a clan people with many different dialects and languages. Okay, and like I've told y'all before, the first people who came here, all right, to rape our women, take our land, it wasn't the pale man. The pale man didn't come in the game until later, until the United States was supposed to be set up. But people keep missing who was supposed to run the republic. You forgot about the republic. That's why when you pledge allegiance to what? The United States and the republic. How come nobody's talking about the republic? That is because the republic was ran by people who look just like us, but they are not from here. They are not from here. But let me tell y'all, let me share a little something with y'all. Okay? Let me share a little something with you. I don't look at television, right? But once in a while, the ancestors would come to me. And just again, people may say, well, Chief, how you know it's the ancestors? Because I know if I don't watch TV, okay, and all of a sudden a thought just come into my head and go look at something. Where did it come from? You see what I'm saying? And I don't watch TV. And then a few days ago, right, about 2 or 3 days ago, all of a sudden a thought came into my head. Go turn the TV on. Like, I have a TV in my room. I don't watch TV, like I said. But the first time I turned that television on, the ancestor spirit, whatever you want to call it, came to me and tell me to turn the TV on. I'm very obedient, right? And guess what? A thought came into my head and said, what? Chief, go to such and such a channel. Family, I cannot make this up. That was about 2.5 to 3 days ago. So I scroll down and I'm scrolling down. I heard the voice in my head tell me stop. All right. Then there was this show that was being played called Night Court. Now, I'm not sure how many of you are old enough to know what Night Court is. I wasn't really a big fan of it, but I've seen 1 or 2 episodes. It's a comedy of, a court and, but anyways, it's comedy, right? So for all those of you who know what Night Court is, the show, the comedy, go ahead and type in 1 because I'm going to show y'all something because the ancestors opened up my eyes. Now, how is that? I don't look at TV. And then I just happen to turn that TV on, scroll down to Night Court, and end up on that episode. Literally 3 minutes before that part of that episode. And I caught it. How is that? Just in time. So I could rewind 2 minutes just to catch it. Come on, man. I don't make these things up. But I'm about to show it to you right now. Because you see, like I said, we are diving deep. Okay? We are diving deep. Okay? We are diving deep. So a lot of people know about Night Court. Let me share my screen again. Because listen, this is, I can't make this up. Let me share my screen again. Boom. Right here. I want y'all to pay attention. Okay? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for this to load up on the screen because there's a slight delay. All right? But I'm going to break it down to y'all. And I want you guys to pay close attention. Okay? Night Court is a show that deals with, it speaks for itself, Night Court, right? When people, do, offenses and they get summons and tickets, they don't go to court during the day. They go to court during the night. But it's comedy. Okay? I'm going to play this video for y'all. And tell me, what do you see in the right corner? It depends on your perspective, but my right. Okay? In the right corner, right above this man's left shoulder. Tell me what you see in the court. You will see an American flag, but all the way to the right, tell me what you see. Let's play this video. Y'all think this is a game? Right here on the right here. Tell me what you see. Okay? We're going to loop it again. Let's play it again. Let's play it again. Right here. I'm going to pause it. Go back a little bit. Go back. Right here. Oh, come on. All right. Y'all think this is a game. I want y'all to tell me, what do you see right here on the corner in the court? Right here. On the right side above his shoulder. What do you see? Right here. Affairs. What is affairs doing in the court with the American flag? The affairs represents the republic. I rest my case. Oh, y'all think Chief-Kalinago playing, huh? All right. Okay. Okay. So now you guys will put 2 and 2 together. All right. That was supposed to be the deal. Let me stop sharing my screen here real quick. All right. That was supposed to be the deal. Three powers after all the wars. Everybody was fighting. Everybody was beating each other up. Okay, you know what? Chill. Enough fighting. Let's leave these American Indians alone and let them operate through what's called the Iroquois Confederacy. All right? And the Pale people said, okay, you know what, man? We're going to have the United States. And the Moors, including the nobles of Britain, okay, including the Israelites, because they are actually from Scotland. They originated in Scotland. King James is their provocateur. Not their provocateur, but their progenitor. Okay? King James became the Jacobite, and then he said he had a vision, okay, to call his tribes Israelites. So they are all children of King James. You feel me? And then you had King George, who was a German, who came and brought back slavery in the 1800s. That set up what you call the Georgia state. So that was supposed to be the deal. All the so-called black nobles that came from across the seas were supposed to run the republic. And the United States was for the pale man. And the Iroquois Confederacy was for the indigenous people. All right? But some dirty, unhanded business went on, and the pale man said, you know what? I don't trust, and we're going to take it all. So if y'all want to keep playing these games, go ahead and keep playing these games. Okay? Keep playing these games. So when they're talking about nationality, be mindful what they're talking about. Be mindful what they're talking about. Okay? Because Moors have treaties with the United States. That's called the Peace and Friendship Treaty. Not because this was Morocco. No. It's not because this was Morocco. It's because Morocco was helping them with the importation of slaves and enslaving people. Okay? And then Moors, based on that treaty, also the Moor Sundry Act, they are citizens that they are supposed to be protected as citizens of the United States. So when anybody tell you, oh, go ahead and be a citizen, and talking about Moors, it's a problem. If y'all don't believe me, like I said, documentation, big conversation. Chief, let's go again. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper, Chief. Come on. I showed y'all this before. Let's read it again. Let's read it again. All right, let's read it again. Because it seems like I don't know what I'm talking about. But let's read this again. Because like I said, documentation, big conversation. All right? Like I keep telling y'all, be careful, man. Stop rushing and doing things. Stop rushing and doing things. All right? Stop. Okay? Stop rushing. Let me share my screen again. Man, please, these people never honor these treaties. None of these treaties are active because they don't honor them. All right? So, and that's just real facts. All right? Let's go look at the Moor Sundry Act. Let's go read that here for a second. Okay? Let's read that here for a second. So when they're coming to, oh, well, we all Moors. No, we're not all Moors. There were indigenous people here before the Moors came. All right? Before, King James and, King George and all these people came. We were already here. You feel me? And they were the first ones who came and fought our people. And that's how the republic was set up. Okay? That's how the flag was able to fly there, fly on our land. That flag is not our flag. Because indigenous people didn't have flags. Okay? It wasn't until later, when with all the fighting, flags and nations had to be established to set up jurisdictions. Okay? But we were just living on the land, chilling in nature. Okay? So when people talking about nations and nationality and all that stuff, America is not a nation. Okay, so how can you be an American national? America is not a nation. America is a continent. So all this in itself, yes, certain things have certain perks. Don't get me wrong. It has certain perks. And you get certain immunities, right? But when you are talking about nation, you are talking about your indigenous nation, okay? If your family is your nation. You feel me? If we were to speak from that perspective. If you're indigenous, All right? That's what your nation is. If you're indigenous and you attach yourself to an indigenous nation, that's your nation. America is a continent. But let us read the More Sundry Act, right? Let's read that here for a second. The More Sundry Act of 1790 was a 1790 advisory resolution passed by South Carolina House of Representatives clarifying the status of what? Free subjects of what? Morocco. Mohammed bin Abdullah. The resolution offered the opinion that free citizens of Morocco were not subject to what laws governed by what? Blacks and slaves. So obviously, the Moors didn't think that they were blacks and slaves. But I'm going to break that down because they were. Because all Moor means it is another adjective for black or a dark-skinned person. All right, but you see, when things kind of turned around, not in their favor. In other words, they were working with the United States, but the United States, the pale men turned around and betrayed them. Okay, because they played a role in slavery as well. Yes, including some of our ancestors. I'm going to keep it 100. A lot of our American Indian ancestors played a role in slavery as well. But they distinguished themselves from what? Blacks and slaves. All right, let's read some more. Petition from sundry free Moors. On January 20th, 1790, pardon me. Guess when was the first census? You see? Now it's all coming together, huh? 1790 was the first census, right? And guess what? In 1790, the American Indians wasn't even part of the census. All right? But how is that a petition? Pay attention. A petition was presented to South Carolina House of Representatives from a group of 4 individuals who were subjects of Morocco, of the Moroccan Empire, and residents of the state. They desired that if they happened to commit any fault amenable to be brought to justice, that as subjects to a prince allied. What does allied means? That they are friends. They are working together with the United States through the Moroccan what? American Treaty of what? Friendship. That's all that treaty means. The treaty didn't mean that this was Morocco or this is the Moroccan Empire. No. It just meant that we are going to work with the United States to do commerce. And we could transport slaves. And we could enslave people. And we could take their gold. Okay? We could take their minerals. That's all it means. They would be tried as citizens instead of what? Under the Negro Act of what? So if we were the so-called Negroes and Moors was saying back then we don't want to be Negroes, how come you talking today that you are us? Come on, man. Family, if y'all blind, you could be blind. If you so choose to be blind. All right? I mean, I don't know how else I could break it down, family. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much more simple I could break it. So if Moors are saying that they're not the Negro, if Moors are saying that they're not the blacks and they're not the slaves, then who were they? And then they had a treaty with the United States. And even more so, they didn't want to be treated as citizens, right? Instead of under the Negro Act of 1740. Come on, man. Let us read. The free Moors, Francis Daniel, Hammond, and Samuel petitioned on behalf of themselves and their wives Fatima, Flora, Sarah, and Clorinda. They explained how some years ago, while fighting in defense of their country, they and their wives were captured and made prisoners of war by an African king. All right, so Africans, they were enslaving their own people. All right. After this, a certain Captain Clark had them delivered to him, promising they would be redeemed by the Moroccan ambassador residing in England. Okay? Yes, a Moroccan ambassador was also in England. Let's read. And returned to their country. Instead, he transported them to South Carolina and sold them for slaves. Since then, by the greatest industry, they purchased freedom from their respective masters. They requested that as freeborn subjects of Prince in alliance what? With the United States, that they should not be considered subjects to a state law. Why do you think Moors think that they're above the law? No disrespect. Because of the Moor Sundry Act and the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. And they have every right to declare that. That's a deal they made with the United States. But what they don't realize is, because of the Moor Sundry Act, that Treaty of Peace and Friendship, it lost some, it diminished. Because the Moor Sundry Act was a new contract. If you want our protection, now you got to be one of the citizens. Oh, you see, nobody's telling you that though. Okay? Nobody's telling you that. Every contract is a new contract with new terms and conditions. Okay? Let us read some more. They requested that as freeborn subject of Prince in alliance with the United States, that they should not be considered subject to the state then in force known as the Negro Law. If they be found guilty of a crime or misdemeanor, they would receive a fair trial by jury. The matter was referred to a committee consisting of a Justice John Fusherard, Grimke, and General Charles Coatsworth Pinckney, and Edward Rutledge. Free Moors Petition Committee report. Edward Rutledge reported from the committee on the petition on the same day, and the House agreed to report with which read as follows. They have considered the same and are of opinion that no law of the state can, in its construction or operation, apply to them, and that persons who were subjects of the Emperor of Morocco, being free in this state, are not triable by the law for the better ordering and governing of the Negroes and other slaves. Because the report was not forwarded to the state senate for concurrence, it did not have the force of law, but served as an advisory opinion offering the Senate of the House. The report was later published in the Charleston City Gazette and the Charleston State Gazette of what? South Carolina. So although it wasn't brought before the House, okay, it was published in a paper, and that still was a public notice. So the point I'm making is this, all right? And once again, I am not here to bash and speak against Moors. No, I'm just here to give you the information and let you know, be very mindful of what you identify as and documents that you're filling out, classifying yourself as different people. That's going to take you away from our indigenous land. You feel me? Because I'm going to ask you a question. Before 1790, before the Moor Sundry Act, before the treaties with the American Indian, we were here, living on our land, living with natural laws of the universe, okay? As people that was manifested from the Great Spirit, living in harmony with nature. So once again, all right, why would you be chasing civil rights when you have rights given to you by the Great Spirit? Anytime you're chasing civil rights, that makes you a subject of immigrants on our land. So why would you want to be subjected to that when you already have rights, natural given rights from the Creator? What did the Creator say? Huh? The Most High said what? I created you, my children, in my likeness and image, and I'm giving you dominion over everything on this land. So why do I need permission from anybody else to be who the Great Spirit made me to be? Huh? Why do I need your civil rights? Huh? I'm not a civilian. Come on, man. Family, Y'all better pay attention when people are speaking. All right? Pay attention. There is some truth in some things, but you have to decipher for yourself. That's why you are always summoned to do your own research, because nobody want to take the responsibility and say, well, you know what? That person told me to do this. And that's why I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm just giving you the information and you do your own research. You do your own in search. You feel me? When you chase the rights of certain societies, all right, you have to be governed by their codes. You feel me? We indigenous people, we have a right to create our own. And there's no law that anybody could make and tell us that we can't create our own. Why would I want to chase yours to limit my unalienable creator given rights? Why would I want to do that? No. Now, with that being said, as indigenous people, we have a right to partake in any society that was created on our land. But if that right is causing us harm, we have a right to give it back. Okay? Why would I want to give up rights from the Great Spirit to deal with privileges? That's taking a step backwards. You feel me? It's taking a step backwards, family. So yes, the Moors are doing great things based on the relationship that they have with the United States. Okay? But they still have, they are still subjected to the United States, because that's entailed and written in that treaty of peace and friendship and the More Sundry Act. All right? Period. Why do you think the American Indian are the only ones that's written in the Constitution? Because we are the only people on this land, okay, that have the unalienable rights that was given to us, endowed in us by our Creator. Okay? Because this is our natural soil. We sprung from this land from time immemorial. So don't give that up for any privileges. Now, like I said, it doesn't mean, I'm not telling you go out there and be unlawful. I'm not saying that. I'm not telling you go out there and be in dishonor. I'm not saying that. But you see, people have to be educated, even if it means that we have to educate those that don't know. So why aren't we stepping up to this Congress people, making sure that our rights are respected as a people? You know what I'm saying? Family, it's written on the wall. You know what I'm saying? And no, Indians are not from India with you so-called scholars. Okay? You had India Major and India Minor. At that time, India was called Hindustan. So stop with the foolishness. They didn't call us Indians because we came from India. And no, Christopher Columbus didn't think he was going to India. You feel me? So stop with the foolishness. So y'all better know, man. Y'all better know. So all I'm just saying, let me conclude this. Be mindful of the information, even the information that I give you. Do your own research. Don't believe anything that I say, but do your own due diligence. Okay? It doesn't mean that you don't have a right to play a role in any society that you live in. Okay? The zip code that you live in, yes, you live in a jurisdiction. And to be a productive member of that society, okay, yes, they have their codes. But if that code is violating your creator given rights, then you have a right to challenge that. Period. All right? But as indigenous people, we have a right to set up our own communities. We have every right to do that. Because the Amish does it, it's okay. The Mormons does it, it's okay. The Japanese, the Chinese, the Arabs, even Africans come here and do it. So how is it's a problem when we do it? You know what I'm saying? No. The only problem is we lack unity. We lack togetherness. We could create our own and create our own jurisdiction, and we could create our own ordinances and our own codes and our own municipalities. We have every right to do that. Every single right. You see, people are enslaved mentally. All right? Supposedly, there's this, partial martial law going on, right? But I look outside my window, I see birds flying around. There's a nest right over my window. Birds having babies, little birds. I don't see no birth certificates. I don't see no birds waiting, talking about, oh, well, you got to take that bird to a hospital. Okay, you got to name the bird something. Oh, well, you can't fly around. You see, people are enslaved mentally. Birds are flying around in this so-called shutdown. But we, the highest form of intelligence, or really are we? Is that a fact? We are bound. Cannot even leave your house. But birds are flying around. So you tell me what's wrong with this picture. There is something emphatically wrong with our society today. Enslaving people. Okay? Like I said, birds are just flying right now. I can see one right on the window pane right here because it has a nest right here. And I don't see nobody restricting its movements. I see squirrels right now, right outside. So why are we? We were given dominion over everything, but yet still they got the freedom. The animals got the freedom. Well, of course, for the ones that's domesticated, but I'm talking about the ones that's free out here. All right? Look at them on the branches right now. No worries. They're eating, they're free, and they're good. Nobody's detaining them. All right? So what's the problem, family? All I'm just saying, man, time to think for yourselves. So I'm going to conclude this video. And I hope, I just hope, man, that this video served its purpose. All right? To conclude, all right, just to summarize everything. Okay? Know that, yes, there's a reset. All right? So we're not talking about gold right now. We're not talking about the currency right now. We know all that's going to change. But it's also going to change your status. All right? I just explained to you what the census means. And when they tell you, well, if you don't do it, it's against the law. Whose law? Okay, you indigenous people should not be forced to assimilate into any society that's foreign to their own cultures and way of life. So I'll just leave it as that. I can't tell you what to do. And I just showed you when you fill that out, okay, it's a form so that you could be taxed to become part of a society that is from Rome. Okay? I'm just saying. All right? I spoke about civil rights. Why are we chasing civilian rights when in the first place the civil movement wasn't about us? We just took it up on ourselves because everything that we get involved in, we overcome. Everything that we get involved in, it becomes something of magnitude. It becomes colossal. So we took up what you call the civil rights movement as our own, but it had nothing to do with us. The civil rights movement was all about the pale people and them fighting for rights. We already had creator given rights that was respected, but no, a lot of our ancestors wanted to be part of societies. And what even made it more detrimental was the fact that they married into our societies and coerced our people into being part of their societies, giving up their creator-given rights for privileges. Okay? So right now we are summarizing things. So based on the information, you make that determination because indigenous people have a right to self-determination. You feel me? Thirdly, we spoke of the different components of government, the United States, the Republic, and where's the one for the American Indian? All right? That was taken away. That was taken away. All right. And what did they do to put in place? They put what's called the 5 civilized tribes. Those are the sellouts. Okay. Those are the sellouts. You feel me? So those of us who didn't assimilate, where do we stand? You feel me? But just know that I just showed you the video in that court. Why is the feds there? Okay. It is because they were part of the whole conspiracy against the American Indians. All right. And may I remind you, in conclusion, it wasn't the pale man who called us American Indians. It was people who look just like us. Okay? It was people who look just like us. There was no need for them to put themselves in the Constitution because they have the Republic. And the pale man had the United States. They had to put something there for the American Indians. Us. But everything backfired. Everything backfired. And the Republic fell. So now they are trying to bring the Republic on a rise. Oh, we all this and we all that. So we could fight against the pale man. Don't get trapped. Don't get fooled. Use discernment. So all I'm just saying is chill. Relax yourself. We are indigenous. We good. All right? Let the people, the immigrants, the real immigrants and the real foreigners, let them fight their battles. Let's just relax ourselves. Come together. Like I said, it's a beautiful time. We have a perfect opportunity to come together as the indigenous people for a change. All right? And let our voices be heard. Okay? As indigenous people. Not as nothing else, but as indigenous people. And you know what respective clans that your family came from. You should know that. But anytime you start calling yourself anything else, you're making yourself an immigrant. I don't care how good it sounds. I don't care how intelligent they sound. You're making yourself an immigrant in your own land. All right? So once again, I thank you for being a part of this build. Go ahead and share the information. Okay? And hey, here's the link. Go ahead and support. You know, like I told y'all before, I don't see nobody dropping it like that. Everybody's giving a little bit of the information. A little bit of the information. Oh, and right before I go, let us talk about real quick about Indians not taxed. All right. That's in the Constitution. Right. But they are talking about the Indian that has no attachment. Okay. To the United States. That's when you are truly not taxed. All right. So y'all got to be careful, man. Be careful with the things that you say. All right. If you have a zip code, if you're receiving mail in your house, in a mailbox, you are still part of their society. Okay. If you have voted and you still have a voter's registration, you're still part of their society. So you are not Indians not taxed. That doesn't apply to you, family. Okay. Indians not taxed only means that the Indians, all right, who are detached completely from their system. All right. So yes, some people may honor you saying Indian not taxed. Some people would honor that, but a lot of them could challenge it. And I'm just keeping it 100. Okay. That's just what it is, family. It is what it is. All right. It is what it is. We have gone so far down that rabbit hole, trying to put our heads above water right now. It may seem far-fetched, but let us not give up. Let us stick together. All right. Things will turn around, but don't get caught up into other contracts. Okay. Don't do that. Stand as who we are, as the indigenous people. All right. We don't have to fight for nationality, family. We don't have to, because we are the original people of the land. You know what I'm saying? Don't force me to assimilate into any nation. Go do your own research. When was the first nation ever created on earth? Recognizable nation. So all that stuff is new things. People were just living in nature. But if you do want to cling to any nation, then let it be an indigenous nation. That's just all I'm just saying. You feel me? That's all I'm just saying. You have to know who you are. I can't tell you who you are. But if you're going to speak about nation, make sure, you know what I'm saying, that you are talking about indigenous people. Because anything outside of that makes you an immigrant in your own land. All right? So be mindful. Be careful. Somebody else, how do we detach ourselves? Well, like I told y'all before, you know, are you self-sustained? Go ask, go. I always give the example. Go ask the Amish people, how did they detach themselves? Go ask the Amish people, how did they detach themselves? Go ask them. They got land, they're growing their own food, they got their own electricity. And yes, you may see them and talk about, oh, well, you know, they got some funny clothes. They clothe themselves. All right. And no, we are not Asiatic. Okay, that's for you Moors. All right. The original man is not from Asia. You dig. All right. Asia is a different part of the world, and the entire world that was called Asia at that time didn't include the Americas because y'all didn't know we existed. So we are not Asiatics. Stop with the propaganda and the false and the misleading information. And I could prove it to y'all right now because in 450 BC, all right, in 450 BC, the Americas wasn't on the maps because they didn't know about us. It was only Asia, Libya, and Europe. Okay? And that was the world to consider to be the world. They didn't know the vastness of the world until they discovered the Americas. Okay? So we are not Asiatics. Y'all are, but we are not. We are indigenous Americans. Even if it wasn't called America, I don't care what it was called. The point is, we are not Asiatics. Okay? Period. We are the people that were here from time immemorial. And whatever languages we spoke or dialects we spoke, our people didn't call ourselves anything. And once again, well, Chief, how can you prove that? Go ask a bird, what does it call itself? Go ask a lion, what does it call itself? Go ask a cow, what does it call itself? Go ask a horse, what does it call itself? It's only people that supposedly that have all this intelligence that want to be labeled to be put in a box. I am not an Asiatic. Okay? I'm an indigenous American. Period. That's it. It's that simple. So it's just people that want to just put themselves in boxes because everything else sounds good. Don't let these people pull you out of your birthright, family. Don't let them do that. Okay? With this Asiatic stuff. So you could go ahead and keep playing the games with people. I'm just here to drop the facts. Because by the time the world was known as Asia, they didn't know we existed. So obviously, you didn't navigate the entire seas because you didn't know we was here. Okay? There were people living in the wilderness between them trees, those wild Indians. Okay? Y'all call us Indians. We didn't call ourselves that. And it wasn't the so-called white man that called us Indians. Period. It was people who looked like us. And I just showed y'all the facts in night court. Okay? So yes, the Moors, when they speak the way that they speak, yes, they have a right to speak the way they speak. And yes, their fairs have a right to be in the court because they established that system. All right? They established that system on our land. You feel me? And the 5 civilized tribes were supposed to represent all American Indians. But no, they took us out of the equation and they brought in a lot of $5 Indians and Mongolians. All right? So from the Iroquois Confederacy, all right, which was the, the original, our original structure, so to speak, our original government, all right, they broke that down. They disseminated that and they created what's called the 5 civilized tribes. From a lot of chiefs, yes, a lot of our chiefs sold out. Okay? They took the bag. So that's why we're in the situation we're in today. Or otherwise, in that court, it would have been the American, the United States flag, the fairs, and the Iroquois Confederacy flag. That's what it would have been. You feel me? So now, as indigenous people, we have to come together to create us again. And if y'all can't see that, how simple it is, then I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know what else to tell you. And just for the record, for all those of you who are actually sending me inboxes, talking, asking me about sovereign stuff, and I'm not a sovereign citizen. Stop inboxing me about that. I don't sell paperwork to be a sovereign. I don't sell paperwork to teach people how to be sovereigns. I don't do none of that. I'm an indigenous American, period. That's it. And I'm just here to link with my indigenous brothers and sisters and build so we could create our own and get the respect that we so deserve. It is that simple. So stop sending me inboxes about asking me about sovereign stuff. I don't know anything about that. Okay? I am not a Moor. I'm not a sovereign citizen. I'm not none of that. I'm an indigenous American, period. That's it. I don't care if you want to get into the semantics of, well, it wasn't called America. Man, listen, I don't care. Nothing was called anything. That's what it's called today. All it means is that I'm an original American. My ancestors have been on this landmass from time immemorial. Well, Chief, what does that mean? From the moment we manifest here in the flesh on earth, my ancestors have been on this part of the world. We did not come from anywhere else. We have been here. And yes, people did come and mix with us. Yes, we do have different bloodlines that's mixed with our people. But it still doesn't change my foundation and my point of origin. And I stand on that. All right? So here we go. Once again, here's the link. Give thanks, like I said. Support. Yes, support everybody that you feel you get great information on or from. But support the ones that's dropping the real. All right? So thank you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your continuation. And like I said, all right, no need to panic. Chill, man. Just make sure you have enough food right now. They have their societies. Respect their societies, all right? But it doesn't mean that they have to violate our indigenous rights, all right? What we indigenous people have to do is come together and create our own, all right? Man, listen, the American continent is huge. The American continent it belongs to all of us. All right, we could travel anywhere and go set up shop in the Americas. It is still our home. It is still our land. You feel me? So we have options. We just have to come together. That's it. All the righteous people, we just have to come together and say, you know what, man, let's do this and create our own. That's it. It's that simple. And let the sheep be the sheep. You know what I mean? Let the dead bury the dead. Leave them alone. All right? And we were a clan people. We were not a tribal people. We were a clan people. Tribes came from across the seas. That's why you have the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? They came from across the seas. Once again, y'all got to listen and pay attention. I keep telling y'all. Okay? Tribes came from Europe and Africa and Asia. We are a clan people. Why do you think the clan became the clan and not the tribes? Because they took everything from us. Even the Confederate flag belonged to us. Okay? So we are a clan people. Once again, the originator or the progenitor for the 12 tribes of Israel is King James. He deemed himself the Jacobite. And then he said he had a vision that God told him to change his name for his tribes. And he called them Israelites. And they came here. All right? And they brought their people here. So, it's a good thing I said that. When you hear this term about the promised land, okay, let us break that down real quick before I go. Be mindful, family, when you call, again, words have power. Let us stop calling our land the promised land. Promised to whom? King James, the Jacobite, who became the Israelite, promised our land to his children. So stop calling our land the promised land. Our land is not the promised land. It was already ours. So how could something be promised to you that's already yours? But you see, like I said, I don't know if it's, you know, the food I've been eating, but I'm seeing clearly. All right. My vision, you did. Check it out. All right. Man, listen, whatever you're talking about, man, listen, I know y'all come on people's platforms, to be disagreeables, but don't worry about that. You will get blocked because I don't have time for you people. You see what I'm saying? So, because a lot of you coming to people, I know a lot of you come with that energy. You see what I'm saying? All I'm going to do is block you because when you see people are vibing, y'all like to come and try to throw off people's energy, but you're not going to throw off my energy. So I just blocked you. That's all. All right? I just blocked you. That's it. It's that simple. So I don't have to worry about that. Okay? You're blocked. So once again, family, all right? Pay attention. Just pay attention, okay? Stop saying that our land is the promised land. Our land is not the promised land. It was already ours. How could something be promised to you that was already yours? If you have always been here, how can it be your promised land? You see, you're speaking your land out of existence. You feel what I'm saying? You're giving it away with your own words, with your own tongue. You are giving it to somebody else that it was promised to. Come on, man. I hope y'all hearing me, man. Oh, I already blocked that, family. I already blocked that. I ain't worried about that. I already blocked that. You feel me? So be careful with the words that we speak. And I'm going to say it again. Our land is not the promised land. All right? It's already ours. It has been ours. People who came to fight us, okay, made a promise to their people that it would be their land. And that's why it's called the promised land. That's why it's in the Bible as the promised land. But it's not theirs because the Bible don't belong to us. Okay? Y'all gonna learn today, though. Y'all gonna learn. But anyway, man, like I said, if this build and this video, you got information from it and it taught you something, I hope you don't forget the laws of reciprocity. When people give unto you, you give unto them. So by all means, go support. You know what I'm saying? And I will continue doing what I'm doing, man. All I'm just here is just to open up your eyes. And once again, I have no personal beef with anybody, no other ethnic group. I just want the truth to be told. Stop giving half the truth. All right? Stop giving half the truth. If you're going to speak on the truth, give it in its entirety. Okay, give it in its entirety. A lot of people are vulnerable. A lot of people are confused. And let's not continue to put our people in a state of confusion. Okay? If you are indigenous, then stand on being indigenous. Okay? If your mother told you was Choctaw, Cherokee, which is the original name is Anyanwea, Chickasaw, Blackfoot, whatever it is, then be that. Don't let nobody take that away from you. Period. Okay? Don't let anybody take that away from you. Okay, that's facts. Don't let them take that away. You feel me? Grandma didn't lie to you. Granddaddy didn't lie to you because we are who they were. It's that simple. And nowhere, anywhere did our grandparents tell us we were anything else. Like I said before, our grandmother never told us we had a little more or a little Israelite in us, a little African in us. No, you had a little Indian in you. That was the code word for you, the original Indian. Because saying you were an Indian at that time, it got you killed. Okay? So I'm just here to drop the facts. Take it whichever way you want. Take it with a grain of salt. Man, it is what it is. You can't say you didn't know. Now you know. All right? I'm just giving you more information to dive in so you can open up your mind a little more and see why things are the way they are. All right? And what's happening. When this thing turn over, we as a people, we need to come together and create our own and do commerce as who we are on our own. All right? Cool. All right, guys. I'm about to shut this down. What I just blocked this fool here, man. All right. So, okay, so you guys enjoy the rest of your continuation. and we'll definitely talk a little later. Like I said, don't worry about that fool. That fool will be blocked. So don't even worry about that idiot. All right, we good. All right. So you guys, man, listen. This is your brother Chief-Kalinago. It was definitely an honor dropping that information for y'all. Enjoy the rest of your continuation, and we'll talk soon. All right. Peace, love, harmony, and light.